What does love look like? At the culmination of our Advent journey together, when the Christ child arrives, we will say, love looks like this. When I was minister of a church in San Mateo, California, that church was on a really busy street. Thousands of cars each day would pass the church, and so that side of the church was a very important place to hang banners announcing events and such. You got thousands of eyeballs. It was the spot. It was my first Christmas, and I had ordered this massive banner announcing the Christmas Eve services. I told the custodian when it arrived, hang it from the roof because it would go down the entire side of the church. A few days later, I received a voicemail at home, and I didn't understand it. It just said, "Who the hell is Chris? And why does he have a holiday named after him?" I drove to church, and I saw that massive banner, and the printer had forgot the letter T in Christmas. We were announcing a Mass for Chris. I started to run around as fast as I could to try to find some ladders. The custodian wasn't there, and cars were just driving by it and starting to honk at it. You know, a lot of churches try to put the Christ back in Christmas. I just wanted to put the T back in Christmas. I remember when that happened, it felt like a lesson to not try to be so perfect at the holidays. You know the perfectionism that can happen, and I remember, no, just, you don't have to be perfect during the holidays. You don't have to be perfect to be good. But now, of course, in the pandemic, I think we've really learned that lesson. This Christmas also, like the last one, will not be perfect. But that doesn't mean it can't be good. So let go of your perfectionism and look for those kindly, beautiful moments that will happen. Cherish those. I want to give just a brief interpretation of our text today. It's a beautiful one. It's the Annunciation. The angel Gabriel appears to the Virgin Mary, announces she will bear the Christ child, and then Mary flows forth from her soul in this testimony of faith. You don't have the whole Magnificat there in your hand, but she tells the whole story of faith from Abraham, what God has done, bringing the mighty down from thrones, lifting the lowly up, and what God has done, God will do. She has complete trust. I know we like to call her the Virgin Mary, but I love what the Eastern Church calls her, Theotokos. Theotokos means God-bearer, the bearer of the divine light. And oh, she is. Now, I want to give just a particular interpretation of this text based on what an angel is. Do you know what an angel is? We have angels all through the Advent scriptures. Here is angel Gabriel. Then he comes to Joseph and Matthew. We have the angelic host at the Nativity. We have angels all through Scripture. Do you know what an angel is? And angels seem to appear very differently. Sometimes they're a young person, or other times they seem to be fearsome creations like seraphim and cherubim. What is an angel? I know you have that Renaissance art in mind with the little kids with the wings, the cherubs, but they seem to appear very differently at different times. St. Thomas Aquinas, the great doctor of the church, developed a theological notion of what an angel is. Thomas Aquinas felt that an angel is pure thought. For Aquinas, an angel is not corporeal. There's no body. And so an angel actually can't appear in a place. There's no body. But an angel can influence a place because an angel is pure intellection. It's a divine thought, an intimation, an intuition that comes upon you of divine things. All through the Christian tradition, there's been this understanding of an angel, that an angel is God's thought passing to humans. And so I simply wish for you this Advent angelic thoughts. We can be filled with such negativity, anxiety. I wish for you angelic thoughts. And I want to offer you just one angel thought. Have you heard of mudita? Mudita. It's this angelic notion in Buddhism. Mudita means when you can hold this thought, that you take the joy in someone else's joy. It's called sympathetic joy. When someone else is happy, you can experience that as joy yourself, mudita. So often we think of empathy as empathy with people suffering, but mudita also means you could take joy in someone else's wonderful moments. And no matter what is happening in your life now, no matter how hard it is, there are people around having the best moments of their life. And if you could take joy in that, how angelic. So often, we have envy in other people's joys, or schadenfreude. We take pleasure in the misfortune to others because we think we're in competition with everyone else, and we think joy is a zero-sum game. If they're happier, we're less happier. That's not how it works. Keep this angelic thought, mudita. Take joy in the joy of another person, and then happiness will always be available to you at any moment. That's angelic.
If we're honest, it's an interruption. An interruption. Yes, we're going about our lives as we should, doing what we do, and all of a sudden, bam, something is getting in our way. We don't like interruptions. Let's say hypothetically, during this Thanksgiving, I was binge watching some things on Netflix. And even in the midst of my merry watching of my binging or whatever, it would stop occasionally and ask me, "Are you still there?" Of course I'm still here. I want to binge watch. Thank you very much. So you can imagine Mary minding her own business, preparing her home, preparing for her wedding, and this so-called angel of the Lord shows up to have an announcement. I don't care what you call it, an announcement, a commercial, it's still an interruption to my daily life. What surprises me is Mary's response. Tell me more. She engages in this encounter, in this conversation. She is curious willing, and open. In the midst of an interruption that will remain an interruption for the rest of her life, she actually pays attention. Slows down enough to recognize that the holy has just shown up and wants to engage her where she's at. Right there, right then. And she says, yes. Yes. Let it be so. She had to ponder it for a bit. That's the nature of these holy interruptions. They push us to ponder a bit. And so the invitation in this season is that in order for us to recognize what love looks like, we're going to have to be willing to allow for these holy interruptions. And there's no telling how they might show up in this season in your life. These holy interruptions come in all sorts of ways and in all sorts of places, at the grocery store, in your home, or maybe in the comings and goings of your life. They come. They show up. Are you going to engage them and pay attention to them? In what I'm pretty sure is God's language, Spanish. I mean, it's got to be. It's got to be. The word for hope is the word esperanza. Esperanza. Its root word is the verb esperar, which is to wait. To wait. And so this season that we are in, it is a season of hope, yes, but this is not kind of syrupy hope as we normally speak of it. This is the kind of hope that means a state of waiting. So we're waiting together. We're waiting to see what this love looks like. We're waiting to see how this love is going to manifest itself in our lives like it has time after time, day after day, moment after moment. We waiting with hopeful expectation. But we better recognize that it comes in the interruption. Are you ready for the interruptions this season? For the unexpected God moments? Pay attention. Love looks like that.